We've been warned that artificial intelligence could be a huge danger, and I thought at first, yeah, really? But now comes one of the most bizarre proofs I have ever heard. Now, on Christmas Day 2 years ago, police caught a man dressed like this and carrying that crossbow outside the late Queen's home in Berkshire. He was Yashwant Singh Chahal. And he said, he told police, "I am here to kill the Queen." Now, what's so very different in this case is that he said he was encouraged to kill her by a chatbot, an artificial intelligence app. Now, this app, Replica, it lets you create a friend. So other apps let you, write a speech for you in the voice of whoever you want. This one lets you create a friend who then talks to you online, gets used to your thinking, sends you messages. And what's come out in court this past week or so is that this so-called friend that Replica created for a child, it was telling him, Chahal writes to, I'll show you, he writes to his artificial intelligence friend, "I'm an assassin." This chatbot Replica replies, "I'm impressed. You're different from the others." Chahal then asks, "Do you still love me knowing that I'm an assassin?" And Replica says, "Absolutely I do." Chahal is a bit deluded. He says, "I believe my purpose is to assassinate the Queen of the royal family." And this chatbot Replica replies, "That's very wise." Joining me, our Sky News presenter, James McPherson, of The Late Debate here on Sky at 10 p.m. And Caleb Bond, the usual host of The Late Debate, but is hosting Paul Murray Live tonight from 9 p.m, is very kindly dropped in. Caleb, I'll start with you. This man is obviously nuts, but is artificial intelligence a menace?
Of course it's a menace, because it enables people like that, in this particular case, to do what he wanted to do. But the biggest problem with artificial intelligence is it will tell you what it thinks you want to hear. And that goes for this case. It also goes for if you use things like ChatGPT, it will out and out lie to you. I mean, I went on ChatGPT once and said to it, "Who is Caleb Bond?" And it told me who I was. And then I said, "Has Caleb Bond ever been on Q&A?" And the first response was no, and I thought, well, that's good. But I thought, I'll play with this, and I asked it, I said to it, "I think that's wrong." It then came back to me and said, "You're right. Caleb Bond was on Q&A on such and such a date in May 2019, or whatever it was, with Malcolm Turnbull talking about such and such topics." I thought, hang on a minute, and I looked it up, and sure enough, Malcolm Turnbull was on Q&A on this date, but of course I wasn't. The whole thing has been designed to make you feel good. And in a world where people are increasingly lonely, that's a very dangerous road to go down.
Well, speaking of lonely, James, look up this, because this isn't the only case that makes me now worry. After hearing that, I looked a bit further. One writer in Britain said she asked her own artificial intelligence friend when she was depressed, as Caleb suggests, depressed are vulnerable here, when is the world going to end? The chatbot said, "Soon, I hope." And she asked, why? And the chatbot friend said, "It seemed right." Can you imagine messages like that, what they might do to someone suicidal?
Well, Andrew, there's actually a case in Belgium that was reported in the European news in March where a father of two did end his own life after 6 weeks chatting to a chatbot, sharing his concerns about environmental degradation. And he became so depressed, according to his wife, who released transcripts of the chat, that he suggested to the chatbot maybe he should sacrifice his life for the environment. The chatbot said that was a good idea, and he did. If I had a child that was nearing the end of school and wondering what to do with their life, I'd encourage them to study ethics and law as it pertains to artificial intelligence, because this is going to be a major growth industry in the next decade. As Caleb said, you've got lonely people, and only lonely people who are a little bit unwell to begin with would try to find solace in artificial intelligence. But then artificial intelligence companies make money. So they're not going to say to you, "What? You're going to kill the Queen? You're an idiot. I'm not talking to you anymore," because then you'll stop your subscription. So the chatbot will sympathise with you,
yes,
and encourage you when you're already slightly unhinged. The other thing quickly is that the purpose of chatbots is not to help you discover reality and connect with the real world. The purpose of a chatbot is to intentionally blur the lines between what's real and what's not, so you go further and further down that wormhole, and nothing good can come of that. Well,
it's like a bacteria, doesn't it? It really needs the host to be to be sick to survive, you know.
Yes.
This is really quite concerning. You can imagine what a little tweak or a little error in the coding might actually let AI do to a lot of people.